We're going to be taking a special road trip to visit my buddy Courtemanche along US 322. Come on, let's go! Alright everyone, today we're going to be doing US Highway 322. US 322 is a road that runs from Cleveland all the way down to Atlantic City, and on the way there it passes by some beautiful scenery here in the state of Pennsylvania. It also has some pretty alright control cities, and then some bad ones too. And I'm going to be collabing with Courtemanche 437 on this highway because he lives ridiculously close to it. So let's get started with this collab video. But first, you're watching the TheDerpHog, where I make highways content on all sorts of different topics. If you've been enjoying it, be sure to hit that like button. And if you've been really enjoying it, be sure to smash that subscribe button so you're notified on all future videos. And if you really want to help out the channel, become a member today, where you get custom cool emojis, early access to future videos, along with one free extra request per month. And if you don't want to become a member, you can always just pay $3 for a intersection request in future videos. Those highways will be listed down in the description below, and I'll make sure to shout you out when that video releases. So let's get on with the highway. As you can see here, this is the map of US 322 as it runs from Cleveland all the way down to Atlantic City. And this little blue dot here is the area of 322 that I've roughly been on. So with that, I'm going to be talking about eastbound 322. So we begin here in Cleveland's Public Square, where we have shields for US 6, US 20, and 322. And sadly, this area is no longer accessible because it has been turned into a bus-only area, and the shields were taken down during the reconstruction. Here's where US 322 splits off from US Highway 6, as it's going to become its own independent highway for a couple of blocks. Here's a reassurance shield of US Highway 322 by itself. Here we are meeting Interstate 90, and if you want to get onto 90, I'd recommend staying in the left lanes here. And then shortly after, we're meeting US Highway 20, and we're going to have a 1mm concurrency with it. Oh, look at that, our 1mm concurrency is over, as US 322 is now continuing east towards Jamestown and Meadville, Pennsylvania, while US 20 continues east towards Erie, Pennsylvania. Here in the outskirts of the Cleveland area, we're meeting with Interstate 271, which creates great control cities. And let us see what we're signed for on 271. We only get one control city in the Kentucky treatment. I'm fine with Gate Mills because it's the biggest suburb we'll pass through for the rest of Ohio. But you could personally do maybe like Gates Mills in Orwell or Gates Mills in Meadville. Here in one of these small random Ohio towns, we're now signed east for Orwell, which is 25 miles away. On the outskirts of Orwell, we're meeting with Ohio Route 11, and we're now signed east for Jamestown. Do you want to know the population of Jamestown? It's 580 people, which is roughly the same size as Sunbright, Tennessee. So why in the world is Ohio following Tennessee and signing a small town in Pennsylvania? This should be Meadville. Ugh. Ohio. And you're doubling down on this too. So are you definitely Tennessee? Because we only get a one-liner for Jamestown. No, there should be Jamestown and Meadville. Ugh. And we're now entering into the state of Pennsylvania. Let's hope that Pennsylvania is better than Ohio. And our first junction here in Pennsylvania is Highway 58, and we're going to be current with Pennsylvania Route 58 for a short time. Here is where the two highways split off, and we're now signed for Conneaut Lake. Are you kidding me? Does no one like Meadville? Because that's what should be signed here. Conneaut Lake's the same size as Jamestown, so why is it being signed? But of course, PennDOT likes to do their secondaries because Meadville is what's on our bottom line at 21 miles away for our first mileage sign. Yay. Here in Conneaut Lake, we're now going to be joining with US Highway 6 once again, and 6 and 322 are going to have a concurrency as we head towards Meadville. In fact, we did a one-liner here with just Meadville from 5 miles away. Here we are being with US Highway 19 in the middle of Meadville, and we're going to be continuing east towards downtown Meadville. And here we get an absolutely gorgeous view of both Interstate 79 and some pretty scenery. And the double good thing is that Interstate 79 also has great control cities. So yay! An all-around awesome moment here. Here's where 322 splits off from US Highway 6 and US Highway 19 in front of this Meadville plaque here. And I'm also going to be doing a US 19 series soon, so stay tuned for that. And you should also check out Courtemanche's US 19 series too. And then on the outskirts of Meadville, we're now signed for Franklin from 24 miles away. Here in Franklin, we're meeting with US Highway 62 and Pennsylvania Route 8, and we're going to have a concurrency as we head through downtown Franklin. Here we split off from US 62 and Pennsylvania Route 8, and you know where US 62 goes if you've seen my US 62 series. But we're going to be staying straight here on 322. And on the outskirts of Franklin, we just get a one-liner with Clarion from 28 miles away. That's alright. Here we are meeting Pennsylvania Route 66 on the outskirts of Clarion, which also takes you over to Interstate 80 here. And here in downtown Clarion on Pennsylvania Route 68, we're now signed east for Brookville. But before we get to Brookville, we're going to be meeting Interstate 80. And after passing by Interstate 80, we get Brookville on the top line at 5 miles away, and Reynoldsville on the bottom line at 18. Are you kidding me, PennDOT? Why in the world are you signing Reynoldsville? I know that's on 322 itself, but personally, I'd like to see Du Bois here because Du Bois has 5,000 more people than Reynoldsville. Here we are meeting with Pennsylvania Route 36 and Pennsylvania 28. And the cool thing here is that we're going to have a tri-concurrency with highways going in 3 different directions. So that's pretty awesome. In our next mileage line, we get Du Bois on the top line and Evansburg on the bottom line as we're about to meet US Highway 119 here. That's pretty awesome. And now we're meeting US Highway 219, and we're going to have a small concurrency as US 219 North takes you into Du Bois. Here is where US 219 splits off from US 322, as 219 is signed south for Curwensville. Are you kidding me? Why in the world is PennDOT signing 219 for Curwensville? Curwensville is not even on 219. You know what this should be instead of Curwensville? Evansburg? Because we saw Evansburg on that mileage sign earlier, so why is it not mentioned here? PennDOT. Ugh. Here in Clearfield, we're meeting with Pennsylvania Route 879 here, and 322 is now signed east for Phillipsburg, which I think is an alright choice because we're still pretty far out from State College. And then on the outskirts of Clearfield, we pass by this US 322 drive-in movie theater. I bet it was cool going to drive-in movie theaters, because I've never been to one. And then on our next mileage line outside of Clearfield, we get State College on the bottom line from 35 miles away. Yay. Here in Phillipsburg, we're meeting with Pennsylvania Route 53, and we're going to have a small concurrency here. Here, after splitting off from Pennsylvania Route 53, we're now meeting Pennsylvania Route 504, and it looks like that we're still signed east for State College, so that's pretty good. And this here is the collection of Courtemanche's own pictures because, like I said, he literally lives ridiculously close to the highway, so he's taken a few personal pictures here. And it looks like at a mileage sign we still get State College on the bottom line, and we also get a ghost shield of 322, but you can see up ahead that it's right over there. So what happened to this one? Also, you know what this reminds me of? This sign here in Fuquay where the 401 shield fall off, so it's just junction to who knows where. And here's some beautiful scenery along US 322 as we're heading east towards State College. And here's a sign for US 322 East to take to State College. Here we are about to meet Interstate 99 and US Highway 220. And as in the famous words of AJR, here I go again. And here is the actual close-up view of the sign, and we're going to be merging to 99 North and 220 North for State College, while 99 South gets signed for Altoona and Port Matilda. You do not need that Port Matilda on there, just leave Altoona. Altoona is fine. Ugh, and not. Anyways, here's some beautiful scenery as we're merging onto 99 and 220. And here is unsigned exit 69, which is for business US 322, and it's signed for Atherton Street, while we're signed north for Bellefonte and Lewistown. Lewistown, not Lewiston. Get roasted past me. And here's where US 322 splits off from Interstate 99 and US 220, as we're signed for State College in Lewistown. And here we meet Pennsylvania Highway 26, which takes you into downtown State College, while 322 is more of a bypass. And here we get to see Beaver Stadium, home of Penn State University's football team. And then this is here in the Lewistown area. We're meeting with our parent, US 22, and another child, US 522. And they're going to have a concurrency here as we're now signed east for Harrisburg. Yay. Here's where 522 splits off from us, and it's signed for Walnut Street. When did I get to Cary? I thought I was in Lewistown, Pennsylvania. This is confusing. And at random interchanges, since 322 and 22 are a freeway here, we're still signed east for Harrisburg, which is great. And our next mileage time, we get Harrisburg on the bottom line from 42 miles away, which is awesome. And now we're meeting US Highway 11 and US 15, which gets Selins Grove and Camp Hill. Here we are splitting off from US Highway 22, and we're going to be joining with Interstate 81, as we're now signed east for Hershey. No, 81 North should be, I don't know, maybe Harrisburg, because we haven't made it to downtown Harrisburg yet. Or you can do Scranton instead of Hershey. While 81 South is signed for Carlisle. No, not Carlisle. Here is where 322 splits off from Interstate 81, as we're now going to be joining with Interstate 83, signed south for Hershey and York. Hershey is alright for 322, but that York should definitely be Baltimore. Here we are meeting with US Highway 22 once again on Interstate 83. And this is where US 322 splits off from Interstate 83 as it signs south for Harrisburg and York. No, I already said that York should be Baltimore. And Hershey is fine for 322 East. Also, I've actually been at this very same interchange, but I was on the 581 side of it, not the 83. And this is the area that I've been on 322 personally. And here we are meeting the eastern section of US 422, as Eastern 422 takes you into downtown Hershey, while 322 East is now signed for Ephrata. Still in the Hershey area, we're meeting with Pennsylvania Route 743, which takes you over into downtown Hershey and over to US 422 Eastern. And on our way to Ephrata, we actually pass right over the Pennsylvania Turnpike, or Interstate 76. Here in the Ephrata area, we're meeting with US Highway 222, which is another of US 22's children that I've been on, and it's signed south for Lancaster and north for Reading. Here we have our first mileage time since forever ago. We get Hingletown on the top line, New Ball at 8 miles away, and Downingtown from 30. Here we are meeting with US Highway 30, as US 30 is actually a freeway here. And now we get a whole bunch of just, like, what in the world is going on. First of all, 322 is not turning right here, it's actually staying straight. And second of all, it's signed for Exton. Are you kidding me? Oh, and it looks like we're also going to be meeting US 30 Gobbledygook here too. Here in Downingtown, we're now assigned east for Westchester. And in the Westchester area, we're now going to be joining with US Highway 202. And 202 and 322 are going to have a concurrency here. And now we're meeting with the great US Highway 1, and 322 and US 1 are going to have a concurrency as we head towards Interstate 95. Here's where 322 splits off from us, and we're now signed east for Chester, because that's where we meet Interstate 95. We're joining with Interstate 95, and it's signed north for Philly, while we get the Commodore Barry Bridge, and nothing else in New Jersey for some reason. Here we split off from Interstate 95, and we just get New Jersey. So just like Pennsylvania and New Jersey have a rivalry or something, sign something in New Jersey, not just the state itself. And as we're crossing into New Jersey, we get a very cool view of the Delaware River here. And shortly later, we're now entering into the state of New Jersey with a Welcome to New Jersey sign. That's pretty rare. So after crossing over the Delaware River into New Jersey, we are meeting US Highway 130 here. And we have a pull-through for US 322, and it's signed east to Interstate 295 for Glassboro. Which I think is a good choice because Glassboro is actually the next major town you'll be passing through on US 322 before reaching Atlantic City. And honestly, I don't think Atlantic City should be signed directly from here because you can take many different routes to get there. So now we're meeting Interstate 295 further up the road, and let's see what we're signed for on 295. Apparently, New Jersey has shattered my hopes and is signing Mullica Hill instead of Glassboro. Why in the world are they signing Mullica Hill? You know what Mullica Hill is? An unincorporated community! And that's literally the community right next to the New Jersey Turnpike. They're trying to make you take 322 to the Turnpike instead of taking it all the way down to Atlantic City. Replace that Mullica Hill with Glassboro. Glassboro should what be there, New Jersey, not Mullica Hill. Outside of the Mullica Hill area, we're meeting with the New Jersey Turnpike, and this is probably the reason why New Jersey was signing 322 east for Mullica Hill. No, it should be Glassboro. And here in the Glassboro area, we're now signed east for Atlantic City, which is a great choice. Yay! In fact, we get a mileage sign which reflects that. And Atlantic City is now 41 miles away. Yay! And now we're meeting with US Highway 40, which is signed west for Mays Landing, while 40 East is going to be concurrent with us as we head towards Atlantic City. And here we are meeting US Highway 9, just outside of Atlantic City. And it looks like that New Jersey is also a fan of Penn State here as well, because there's a Penn State logo right next to this Subaru car dealership. And then if we follow US 40 and 322 all the way down to Atlantic City, this is technically the eastern terminus of both highways. But we're going to be continuing down to the docks. And look at that, it's the famous Atlantic City Boardwalk. Now please excuse me while I purchased this property for $450. Yay! Now I own the most expensive property in the game. So with that, I'm going to be handing my turn over to Courtemanche 437, who will be doing Westbound 322.
Hello, TheDerpHog viewers! It is I, Courtemanche 437, and I will be your guide for this westbound portion of the US 322 video. So, let's get going. In Atlantic City, we can see a 2 US 40 shield. There is no mention of US 322, but as we already know, US 40 and 322 begin concurrently here in Atlantic City, so this shall suffice for the first shield of this segment. And then we get no reassurance shields immediately, but on a street sign we do see that indeed we are on US 40 and 322 here. And a little bit further up the road, we do get our first reassurance shields here for US 40 and 322. we meet the Atlantic City Expressway, and it is getting signed for Philly because that would be your fastest route to Philly from here. And then we meet US 9, and it gets signed north for Smithville, and I don't really agree with that Control City choice, but I'm not really sure what else we would go with. I said in my 322 westbound video it should be New York City, but yeah, no, that's just way too far away. Now we got a sign for 40 and 322 West, Philadelphia and Delaware Memorial Bridge. I really think the 40 should just be Wilmington, but hey, at least we get signed for Philly, so that's good at least. And now 40 is splitting off for Mays Landing. Again, I really think it should be Wilmington, but we are getting signed for Camden, and I really do not like that because 322 does not go to Camden. You would be taking New Jersey Route 42 to get there. I really think it should still be Philly, or at least something else that's actually on 322's route. And after that intersection, we see this 322 highway taxes at work sign, and New Jersey made a shield error. They listed this as New Jersey Route 322. So that's really making me comfortable knowing that my highway taxes are in New Jersey's hands. But anyways, here is our first mileage sign on 322 westbound, and we can see that Glassboro is on our bottom line at 25 miles away. So at least we're not getting Camden on this sign. I think at least Glassboro does make some sense because it's on the route. Although I'd kind of still like to see it maybe being on the second line and Philly being the bottom line. And here in Glassboro, we are getting signed now for Rowan University and Delaware Memorial Bridge. I think the Delaware Memorial Bridge is there because of the turnpike, which we can also see on this sign, but no, I don't think it should be Rowan University. I think it should just be Philly. And after we go by Rowan University, we get this mileage sign where Bridgeport is on our bottom line at 15 miles away, and that is absolutely ridiculous. That is just like a neighborhood in New Jersey right before we cross the Delaware River, so I think you could have that being like the second line, have Mullica Hill be on the top line, and have Philly be the bottom line. Oh, goodness gracious. But anyway, here in Mullica Hill, we are meeting the New Jersey Turnpike, and we don't get any control cities for it on 322, but it gets signed for Wilmington southbound, which should absolutely be Baltimore, and New York City northbound, so that is correct at least. And now here we are meeting Interstate 295. And now here is our interchange with US 130 in this direction, which is signed to 295 north for Camden. And we are now getting signed 322 west, Commodore Barry Bridge, and Pennsylvania. Come on. You have two lines on that sign, and one of them is not for Philly? Are you freaking kidding me, New Jersey? This is ridiculous. Come on. Put Philly on it. So here we are crossing the Delaware River on the Commodore Barry Bridge. This is right about where the state line is, but we don't get any sort of welcome to Pennsylvania. And on this overhead, we can see on Interstate 95 to 476, Philadelphia and Wellington, again, as opposed to Baltimore. And now we got another overhead at the exit for Pennsylvania 291 and US 13 for Chester. Once again, Philadelphia, Wilmington. And now we have merged onto Interstate 95, and we can see that we are only going to be concurrent with it for half a mile as we split off to go towards Westchester. 95 gets no control city, but it should be Baltimore. Here is the actual split of 322 and 95, and we can see that 95 is getting signed for Wilmington, which is the wrong choice. Now we are going to be meeting and coming concurrent with US 1 as we get signed for Chadds Ford and Kennett Square, which are both places that US 1 goes to, so they're favoring US 1 over 322. How about just sign Kennett Square for 1 and put Westchester on it for 322, because that's where we're going after this. Ugh, absolutely ridiculous. And now here we are splitting off of US 1 and going to be joining up with US 202 as Westchester comes back onto our signs. So that is good at least. Now we are splitting off of US 202 as we get signed for Downingtown, and I think that is the right choice from here. And we're also meeting Pennsylvania Route 3 again. It is getting signed east for Newtown Square. And hey, someone put a picture of Matt Gay up here on this gantry. What is that doing there? I'm just gonna take it down. Oh, Pennsylvania 3 West is getting signed for Gay Street. Oh, haha, Westchester. Very, very funny. Here in Downingtown, we are going to be turning left to be concurrent with Business US 30, although we get no information about that. The only sign here we see is alternate truck West Business 30. That is just a bunch of gobbledygook that is really confusing, and I don't know why this route gets this designation. But anyway, we split off of Business 30 and we get signed to US 30, like regular 30, and this is where we need it. And in the background there is a direction sign for Lancaster, although it's covered up by trees, although that is definitely the right choice for 30 on that sign back there. And we get no information for Eastbound US 30, although I don't know what you would really go with. I don't like signing 30 for Exton, but then again, you probably would have also had other ways to get to Philly from here, so yeah, I don't know. A little further down the road, we are meeting Pennsylvania Route 23 in the hilariously named town of Blue Ball. Now we are meeting US 222 and it gets signed north to Interstate 76, the Pennsylvania Turnpike, Reading, and southbound it gets signed for Lancaster, so I think those are pretty good choices right there. And on Pennsylvania 272 on the other side of Ephrata, we can see that we are now getting signed for Brickerville and Lebanon. And I think Lebanon kind of does make sense because we'll be meeting a route that will take you over to Lebanon, and it's pretty big. Although I really cannot get down with Brickerville because it is a very, very small town, and that's just where we meet Pennsylvania 501. I think this should just say Hershey or Harrisburg because that's where we're going west of here. And now we cross over the Pennsylvania Turnpike, but once again, we don't have direct access to it. And here we are meeting Pennsylvania 419 to Pennsylvania 72, and we can see that it is getting signed for Quentin and Cornwall, while we get signed straight ahead for Hershey. And after this intersection, we get this really interesting sign where we have a reassurance shield for US 322, but there is also a white sign that says Hershey under it. TheDerpHog and I have no idea why the heck this is here. I mean, that's our next control city, but yeah, I don't know, it's really weird. Now we are meeting Pennsylvania Route 39, and this is also where the eastern segment of US 422 begins, although we have no access to it here, so that is really weird. But we can see on this overhead we are getting signed for Harrisburg, so that is correct. I don't even think there's any other places on the way to Harrisburg, so it's not like they could really sign anything else. But anyway, on our first mileage sign in the state, we haven't seen a mileage sign since New Jersey. It is just a one-liner with only Harrisburg on it, and we also get a 2 Interstate 83 shield, so I guess this kind of works. I feel like any other control city you could have on here is just too far away and not big enough. And now we are meeting Interstate 83 and going to have a brief concurrency with it as we get signed for Carlisle and State College. I feel like the Carlisle, which is only on there because of 2 Interstate 81, that should be Hagerstown, Maryland, or Roanoke, Virginia. And 83 South is getting signed for Harrisburg because it is going into downtown, or at least that'll be the way to downtown from here. And South Interstate 283 is getting signed to the Turnpike and also Harrisburg International Airport because it will take you over to Pennsylvania 283, which goes to the airport. We meet US 22 and it gets signed just Jonestown Road, which kind of does make sense because if you go west on 22, you will go over to downtown Harrisburg. Although I feel like eastbound you should have a control city for it, but what are you going to do? Now here is the end of Interstate 83 northbound, and we get the choices of 81 north for Hazleton and Allentown because of 2 Interstate 78, and we are going to get signed for Carlisle and State College because we are joining up with Interstate 81 southbound. Again, Carlisle, not a good choice, but I really do like to see that State College. That is wonderful. And now we split off from Interstate 81 as it gets signed once again for Carlisle, although we get signed for both Lewistown and State College. So if you're going to sign another one on this overhead, yeah, Lewistown, that makes sense. Here is our next mileage sign with 3 lines on it. We get Newport on the top line, Lewistown is the second line, and we get State College on the bottom line at 83 miles away, so that is really cool. Here is a look at the Susquehanna River on this side. And now we are meeting US 11 and 15, where they get signed for Camp Hill going southbound. That should be Carlisle and Gettysburg. And North 11 and 15 are getting signed for Selinsgrove and Williamsport. So that is really cool. That northbound sign is done really well. But I wonder what we get signed for on 322 at this interchange. Oh wow, we only got Lewistown and not State College, so that is not great. And then further down the road on this 2-line mileage sign, Lewistown is the bottom line and State College has disappeared. So what the heck, PennDOT? Why did you do this? Now we come into Lewistown and we are going to be meeting and becoming concurrent with 522 for a brief distance. And 522 northbound is just getting signed Walnut Street. It really should be Selinsgrove. And then when we split off from US 22 and 522, they get signed for Mount Union, which I guess could be okay. There's really not anything bigger along the way on 522, and I feel like the controls for 22 might be a bit too far away to sign. Either way, that's where they split, so I guess it kind of works. And we were getting pulled through for State College, so that is good. Just west of Lewistown, here we get this beautiful scenery. And on our next mileage sign, State College is on the bottom line at 28 miles away, so that is correct. Although on some of the mileage signs we see along the way to State College, it gets put on the top line and we get Phillipsburg on the bottom line. So that is not good, I think. It should still be State College on the bottom line because Phillipsburg is pretty small. There's a few junctions there, but right now, I don't think it should be on the bottom line. Here we're meeting Pennsylvania 144, and it is getting signed to Potter's Mills. I really think it should just be Bellefonte because this is where you get off to go to Bellefonte, but we are getting pulled through once again for State College, so that is good stuff. And as we get to State College, we are meeting Pennsylvania 26, which is getting signed south for State College because it has not reached downtown yet. And we can see 322 East getting signed for Lewistown. While westbound, we are getting signed to Interstate 80, 99, and 220. And we get Penn State University in Phillipsburg. I really think you should exchange Penn State University for another city that one of these roads actually goes to, like, I don't know, Williamsport, New York City, or Altoona. And Phillipsburg should be on the top line here. This is really dumb. And now we are going to get into some of my own personal pictures that I have taken on US 322. Just after we meet Pennsylvania 26, we are going to become concurrent with Interstate 99 and US 220. And we got a pull through for Phillipsburg and Altoona. That is absolutely correct right there. Although Interstate 99 and US 220 are getting signed north to Interstate 80 for Bellefonte. Again, that should be Williamsport, New York City, one of those other choices that we're going to have. Some of those other cities that we go to. But anyways, this mileage sign right here is one of the best in the whole state, in my opinion. And we got Port Matilda on the top line at 12 miles away, which is the only place that it belongs. We got Phillipsburg on the second line because that's where we will be going when we split off of Interstate 99, and Altoona is on the bottom line at 40 miles away. So this right here is a rare Pennsylvania W. That is absolutely awesome, and I wish more mileage signs were like this. South of State College on 99, we got some really beautiful scenery, so I really wanted to show that. And now we are splitting off of Interstate 99 and US 220 as they get signed for Port Matilda just because of the very next exit in Altoona. So I think everybody has said it at one point, but it's worth saying again. You should not be signing Port Matilda just because of one exit. Just Altoona will do the job, although or getting signed for Phillipsburg is correct. And along the way to Phillipsburg, we're getting some more beautiful scenery. And in Phillipsburg, we are now meeting Pennsylvania 504, getting signed for Unionville, and we get signed straight ahead for Clearfield. And now we have left the part of 322 where I have been on. So these are all going to be DerpHog Street View images from now on. And we become concurrent with Pennsylvania 53 for a brief time. This is where 53 splits off to go over to Tylertown. And now we are getting signed for Clearfield as we get some information about Interstate 80. Also, Clearfield, I would say, is the right choice. On the next mileage sign, Clearfield is on the bottom line at 16 miles away as we get another 2 Interstate 80 shield. And along the way to Clearfield, we can see that we are closely paralleling Interstate 80, and that will be the case for quite some time. So that is pretty cool. And here in Clearfield, we are now going to be meeting and becoming concurrent with Pennsylvania 153 for a short time as we get a whole bunch of direction signs and keystones for 153 and 322 shields to Interstate 80. All the information you could ever need is right here. And then on our next mileage sign, we get Luthersburg on the top line. DuBois is there for our next control. And then Ridgeway is where Pennsylvania 153 will be going. And then also that'll take you over to US 219, which also goes to Ridgeway. Or that's how you get to Ridgeway. Anyway, now we are splitting off of Pennsylvania 153, and we can see that now we're getting time for Brockton and Luthersburg. I really do not like those choices because Brockton is just where we're going to meet a road that splits off to go to DuBois, and Luthersburg is just where we're going to meet and become concurrent with US 219. So I think this should absolutely say DuBois and Brookville, because those are the next couple of controls that we're going to have on westbound 322. And the mileage sign we get after that intersection says exactly that, those two places. So yeah, I really don't like this at all. But now we're meeting and going to become concurrent with US 219 as it gets signed for Ebensburg. That is the right choice going southbound, and we can see that we are now getting signed for DuBois and Brookville straight ahead. So that is a good direction sign right there. And now we are splitting off of US 219. It is getting signed for DuBois, and we get Brookville. So again, that is the correct choice. Now we meet 119, and it is also getting signed for DuBois because it is going over to 219 where 119 will end, and southbound is getting signed for Punxsutawney, and we get another straight arrow for Brookville. And now here in Brookville, we are meeting and going to become concurrent with Pennsylvania routes 28 and 36 for a brief distance. And we get this awesome reassurance sign salad of South 28, North 36, West 322, 280. We are going in 3 different directions on 3 different roads all at the same time. And that is really, really cool. And now this is where Pennsylvania 28 and 36 split off, going over to Interstate 80 in the case of the latter. And also 28 gets a terrible control of New Bethlehem. Leaper I think is fine for 36. But anyways, after that intersection, now we get a mile sign with Corsica on the top line because that's where we meet Pennsylvania 949, and we get Clarion on the bottom line at 15 miles away. I think that probably makes sense. But now we are meeting Interstate 80 directly, and it is getting its awful controls of Sharon and DuBois, which should absolutely be Cleveland and New York City. And as if that wasn't bad enough, on Interstate 80 itself, we're getting signed for Strattonville, which is just a teeny tiny town right off of the exit, like maybe 5 miles up the road. It is only 500 people when this should absolutely be Clarion. Holy mackerel, PennDOT. This interchange is absolutely ridiculous with the Control City signage. What are you doing here? Ugh. But anyways, in Clarion, we meet Pennsylvania Route 68, and it is getting signed for East Brady, while we get the controls of Brookville for eastbound and Franklin for westbound. So those are correct at least. And just west of Clarion, we get a mileage sign with Shippenville on the top line at 2 miles away because we are meeting Pennsylvania 208 there. I feel like that should just be Knox because when you meet Pennsylvania 208, it'll go over to Pennsylvania 338, which will go to Knox, and I feel like that's the better route to Knox from here. But anyway, Franklin being on the bottom line, 24 miles away, that is absolutely correct. That is the next significant town that we go to. In Franklin, we are meeting and going to become concurrent with Pennsylvania 8 and US 62 very briefly. And here is where that concurrency ends. Also, these signs look like they have seen better days. Here is where we meet Pennsylvania 417, as we're going to be making this left turn to stay on US 222. And then after we leave the Franklin area, we get this mileage sign with Courtemanche top line 10 miles away, and our bottom line is now Meadville at 20 miles away. So that is absolutely correct right there. And here in Meadville, we are meeting and going to become concurrent with US 6 and 19, as we also get a 2 Interstate 79 shield. Now we are meeting Interstate 79, and it gets its awesome control cities of Pittsburgh and Erie. I wonder what we get signed for on 322 now that we are past Meadville. Conneaut Lake. And 19 gets no control city at all because it splits off before 6 and 322 get there. Although I suppose if you want to get anywhere on 19, you're better off just taking 79, so I don't know. Here is where US 19 splits off, as we also meet Pennsylvania 98 here at this roundabout. Southbound is assigned for Mercer, and Pennsylvania 98 gets Fairview. And on our next mileage sign, we get Cleveland on the bottom line. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! That is freaking awesome. That is absolutely what should be signed the whole rest of the way, and they go with it. That is really awesome. That is another rare PAW. And here is where US 6 splits off as we join up with Pennsylvania 18. And here are our reassurance shields of this concurrency, although we get a stupid acorn shield for 322, which I do not like to see. And then on our next mileage sign, Cleveland has disappeared, and our bottom line is Greenville, which is where Pennsylvania 18 is going. So that is not good to see. And then here is where Pennsylvania 18 splits off. And then we got another acorn shield for 322, although at least Cleveland has come back onto the bottom line of the next mileage sign at 74 miles away. Also the last one that we will take a look at here in Pennsylvania. In fact, I don't think there is another one after this. But anyway, now we come into Ohio. And we meet Ohio Route 7, and we are still getting sign for Cleveland here at this direction sign. It is going over to Conneaut, which, little piece of trivia, is actually the northeasternmost town in Ohio. It is literally on the border with Pennsylvania. But then we meet Ohio Route 193. It gets signed for New Kingsville, fine. But we are getting signed for Orwell and not Cleveland. Where did Cleveland go? It should absolutely be Cleveland here. Ugh. ODOT, what are you doing? This is not right. Now we meet Ohio Route 11, and it gets signed for Youngstown and Ashtabula. So those are good choices for that. And then on our last mileage sign, we can see Cleveland does come back on the bottom line at 51 miles away. So that is good, but why didn't we have it at the directions sign that we saw on Ohio Route 193? And then at this direction sign where we meet Ohio Route 306, we get Cleveland at 19 miles away. Now we are meeting Interstate 271, and it is getting signed north for Cleveland and Erie. And I presume southbound it gets signed for Columbus because of meeting up with its parent. But I wonder what we get signed for on this interchange. Oh, we get Mayfield Road and Mayfield Heights. Mayfield Road is just the name of the pavement that we're on, and we're basically already in Mayfield Heights. Dot. Unbelievable. Anyway, now we are meeting and going to become concurrent with US 20 very, very briefly. And this is where they split off. Again, very, very, very short courtesy. And now we are meeting Interstate 90, and it gets signed to Ohio 2, as well as Interstate 77 and 71 in the distance. And now we make our last turn to become concurrent with US 6 for the very, very last, like a quarter of a mile, if that. And here is the public square where 322 ends, although we don't get any sort of end 322 sign or anything like that. Not really any information here. We'll go down to the Veterans Memorial Bridge where we can see that Ohio Route 3 and US 42 are just getting signed. West 25th Street and US 6, 20, and Ohio Route 2 are getting signed. Detroit Avenue and Shoreway. But that will bring this portion of the TheDerpHog's US 322 video to a close. And if you enjoyed seeing me talk about Westbound US 322 in this video, you should go check out my channel because I also do highway content on mostly northeast roads. Although I have done a US 19 series for the TheDerpHog's birthday back in May of 2024. I did a video about North Carolina Route 42, and as of the recording of this, I also have a US 501 video in the works. So I'll be talking about some more southeast stuff, and later on I'm also going to be doing some western highways. But yeah, once again, if you enjoyed seeing me talk about Westbound 322 in this video, you should go check out my channel. And I will now take it back over to the TheDerpHog so he can do his outro. So, bye everyone. Thank you once again, TheDerpHog, for having me on this video.
Thanks again to Courtemanche 437 for doing the westbound portion of US Highway 322. So we're going to be moving on to all of the places I'll go on 322. So these are all the places that I'd visit if I ever was on 322 once again. First, I'd love to visit downtown Cleveland, and I also like to visit downtown Meadville and Franklin because they look like nice towns in the mountains. I'd also like to visit Lewistown and State College and my buddy Courtemanche. And I'd also like to revisit Lake Harrisburg and actually go downtown and visit the Pennsylvania Capitol. And I'd also like to visit Ephrata and revisit Hershey and the Lancaster Valley Amish country. And then finally, I'd love to visit Glassboro and Atlantic City. So those are the places I'd visit on 322. Thank you all so much for watching this collab video on US Highway 322. I hope you guys enjoy learning a little bit about the highway from both of our experiences. So with that, here are my next few highways. So I'm going to be doing another collab with Courtemanche on US Highway 15 coming up in a few weeks. And I'll also be going to do a collab with the Xavier 456 on US Highway 23 northbound for the University of Michigan. So, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all next week in Columbus.